Good evening and welcome to another episode of GLP. I keep saying GPL, but it's GLP1 with an ostomy. Okay, I think I got it right this time. If I didn't, charge it to my head, not my heart, but I'll get it right. And I tried to, wait a minute, every day I've been going into the YouTube studio to try to change that name to the correct name, because I hate that it says GPL1 with an ostomy, but there's nothing I can do. It said you still have 10 more days. So, because they only let you change your name every 14 days. It's just a correction. All I'm doing is switching a letter, and I thought maybe I could still try to sneak it in and get it, and it will not do it. It will not let me do it. So, hey, I got 10 more days to go. So on the 24th, you will see the correct initials for GLP1. Well, y'all, I know I told y'all the other day that I wouldn't be back until I had the medicine in hand, but as you saw in the title of this video, I've got to eat humble crow, y'all. Oh my God, let me tell you what happened. I'm laughing because I decided to call the pharmacist today to see if by chance, they had heard anything about the approval and whatnot. And so when I called him, and it was the first pharmacist that I had talked to. Remember, I was telling y'all in the introductory video that the pharmacist told me, and then the lady pharmacist confirmed on Friday that once the prescription is sent in and the correct information is written on the script, they submit it to Medicare, and then Medicare on the bridge program will either approve or deny. And so I meet the approval process because my BMI is over 30. And then also what's the other thing? I have Part D. So those are the two things that I know automatically approves me. So I know I'll be approved for it. So that's no problem. But they had told me that once they submit it, then they will hear the approval or denial from Medicare, right? Well, either they changed it or something happened, but they denied it. And the reason why they denied it is because they said that now the doctors have to fill out the pre-auth. And that might have been it from the beginning. But I was told that they were saying that they were submitting this unless these people were already pre-authorized, or the doctor may have sent the pre-authorization to Medicare in advance and just sent the script in. Maybe that's the case, and maybe that's the reason why the pharmacist, maybe they assumed the same for me. They probably assumed that the doctor had done this, and so they submitted the thing and figured that everything would go through. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but I'm eating humble crow because remember the receptionist, the doctor's secretary, or whatever, had told me I'm gonna have to fill out all the paperwork. And so the pharmacist gonna tell me today, he was like, I looked at the computer and they sent the denial because it said that they need the pre-authorization paperwork. He said, your doctor has to fill that out. So the first thing I thought, and I did tell him, I was like, his receptionist, oh my gosh, she gave me such a hard time over that, talking about how she's going to have all that work to do and that only for them to deny it. And I told her, just do your job, because that's your job. If you fill out the prescription correctly and send it to the pharmacist, you're done. Oops. Woo-wee. I know she mad at my butt. But anyway, when the pharmacist looked in the computer, he said Medicare has sent them the pre-authorization paperwork. I said, I hope it's not 2,000 pages that has to be filled out. He said, no. He was like, basically, it's just the doctor. He's going to let them know, why you need the medicine, what's the medical necessity. And so the reasons that were written on the prescription is the reasons he's going to put on the pre-authorization form. And then that's it. Once it's sent in, Once it's faxed in, then that's it. He said, I know you're going to be pre-approved. He said, because I'm looking here, you have Medicare Part D. He said, you qualify. He's like, he's like, I know you qualify. He's like, because I know you meet the criteria. Shoot, he's the one who does all my medications, so he know my broke down butt. Qualify. He was like, so I know you're going to qualify. But oh Lord, now I got to depend on this receptionist. And then he gonna tell me, he was like, I'm telling you, he said, if she submits this paperwork immediately, like within the next day, he's like, you have the medicine in your hand within 72 hours. He said you'll have it by Thursday or the end of the week or whatever. He said, so call her. I was like, you got to be out your mind. I ain't calling that woman. She's not going to ruin my birthday tomorrow, y'all, okay? I am not calling her. She knows she has a job to do. And if she lagged, now I'm going to give her until Friday. If she hasn't done it by Friday, then there's going to be a problem, okay? Because she received that paperwork on today. So she does all she does in there whenever I go in, because the doctor, he's more of a geriatric type doctor, but he treats everything. He's a general practitioner, and he used to be my late mother's doctor. And I love the fact, because at the time I had my own primary doctor, but then my doctor retired, and so I was looking for a doctor, and so Dr. Reddy had given me a card, and I loved the way he treated my mother. My sister can't stand him. Ooh, my sister could, because he made this one detrimental mistake with my mother, and it wasn't, well, it could have been life-threatening. He had released her from the hospital too soon after she had had a medical emergency, and she wound up having the medical emergency again, and my sister couldn't stand. I was like, listen, Sherry, everybody makes mistakes. I was like, other than this, and I fussed, believe me. I was like, because I had told Dr. Reddy the day that he was going to release her, I was like, are you sure you want to release her this soon? I was like, because she's only been here 2 days. I know everything's fine, but they've had her on liquids and things like that. I was like, we need to make sure that this is cleared up before you release her. He was like, oh, no, she's fine. We ran the test. We did a CAT scan. We did this. We did that. And what had happened, she had had a gastric bleed. So, yes, that's serious. And so I was like, okay, Dr. Reddy. That next morning, he released her that day. So mom was released to go on a regular diet and everything. So I fed her. It was soft foods. It was nothing harsh. I think I gave her, because she was hungry, so I think I gave her an egg, some cream of wheat or something. I can't remember what I gave her, but it was something real soft, real light that I knew wouldn't cause a problem. That next morning, I got up, and it was nobody but God, y'all. Nobody but God woke me up extra early that morning, because usually Mom and I would get up at about 9-ish, especially on her non-dialysis days. So I got up like that morning at about 7. It was like early, and I went in there and checked on her, and boom, there it was. I was like, oh my God. So I had to call 911. Okay, so that's that story. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, I fussed. When Dr. Reddy came into that ER room, he was like, he didn't come in and he didn't say good morning. He didn't say nothing. He came in the room like this. I'm sorry. Oh. I was like, Dr. Reddy, I'm going to get you out. And that's how I talked to him. Oh, I would always fuss. We played around and stuff. He's such a nice doctor. And many people, well, the people on my crochet channel met him. He did a film with me. I was doing a YouTube film, and he happened to come in there. And I was like, Dr. Reddy, you want to go on camera? So he came on to say hi, and I gave him his props. I was like, I chose him as my doctor after my mother passed. I said, simply because he treated my mother with dignity, and that is no lie. Every other doctor would look at me, I'm the caregiver and stuff, but my mother, she was in her right mind, and she could speak. And if it was something my mother did not want to say or could not, articulate the way that it should have been articulated, then my mother would look at me, and then I would jump in. But he never, she did that a few times with him, but it was rare. He talked to her. He never addressed me first, because I would tell people, you can ask her, she'll answer the question or whatever. I always had to say that to all these different doctors and stuff, people who had met her the first time and stuff. Nurses seemed to automatically talk to her too. Nurses would not you know, look at me or say anything, because first of all, they're doing the job of caregiver while mom would be in the hospital. And so usually they would talk to mom. You know, they would look at her and say, Miss Davis, are you hungry, or whatever, you know. And so I appreciated that. But he was the only doctor that I noticed from day one who talked to her, didn't talk around her. She was included in everything. And he treated her with dignity. He treated her respectfully, and I appreciated that. And that's why I told my sister when she was like, we're going to fire him. I was like, no, we're not. Not this late in the game. We are not firing Dr. Reddy. I was like, no, everybody makes mistakes. And he never made a mistake again. After that, he would keep mama too long. After that, because he was so scared that something would jump off if he sent her home. So he would always keep her. He would be like, it's Friday. You go get rest, caregiver. I'm going to keep her the weekend. I'll release her on Monday. I want to watch her a couple of more. He would do stuff like that to give me a break. He would be like, go have fun, do whatever. And I appreciated that. So after my mother died, right after she died, he knew because of, he knew that mom was in hospice and stuff. And so I guess he figured that was the end of it, because my mother died July 11th of 2020, and it was COVID time. Well, I ended up calling Dr. Reddy for an appointment because my gastroenterologist, I told y'all about that, abandoned me. And I needed to see somebody for the flare I was having, you know, because this was, you know, shortly before my ostomy. And so I was like, let me call Dr. Reddy and make an appointment. And then, because I needed a GP, because my GP, general practitioner, had retired, I needed somebody, you know, to be seen. And so I called him. And so I went in, it was like in August. It was like maybe late August when I went into him. And he was seeing, you know, he was one of the few doctors who were seeing patients in his office. So he had it situated where everybody had to wait in their car, and then they called you when it was your turn to come in. So you would see the last person before you come out. And so then they called you, and then you went in, and you were there by yourself. You had to be masked. So it worked really well. The way he set it up worked wonderful. So I went in there and I took him an obituary, and I didn't know if he had known that my mother had passed. And he said, I followed when she was in the hospital, and I knew that she went home, and I knew that she ended up in hospice and everything. He said, he's like, but when I saw her, I knew that time was short. I just didn't know how long it would be. And so I said, well, she passed on the 11th, a month ago or whatever, because it was like late August. So, and I was like, here. And he was so happy. Don't you know, my mother's obituary is still hanging up in his office, along with a few others, you know, of patients who had passed. But I still appreciate that. You know, I appreciate him. Okay. So anyway, I like. His secretary, actually, I like her. She's very nice, but she does not like to do paperwork. And I'm sorry, that's part of your job. You know, you have to do the paperwork. So, and all she's doing is typing. I know she's not writing anything. So just type it up, or they ask the questions, fill it out, fax it to them. That's all you have to do. And so more than likely, I would bet that Medicare has told them that I qualified, but that all they need is for the questions to be answered, and then that'll be the end of that. Another thing, and then I'm gonna get off of here, y'all. Hold on, let me take a sip of my water, because I've already started on my water, and I've been working out with my weights. I wanted to let y'all know. I'm gonna go get a journal. I have journals in the house, because I had told y'all that before, and we're gonna cut this short because I don't want to be on here that long. But I looked at Barnes & Nobles, and there's one 5 minutes away from me. I'm going up to Barnes & Nobles probably tomorrow, and I'm going to purchase a weight loss journal. The ones that I have are just, I mean, they're nice. They have a nice backing to them. In fact, the one that I chose that I was going to use is leather backed, and it has the little gold rim like a Bible around the pages, but it's just lines. You know, it's college ruled, which is fine. I don't want to write out everything. So the journals at Barnes & Nobles, and I saw some as cheap as $12, and all of them were nice. They have all the information. All I have to do is fill in the data. That's my way of journaling, okay? I also decided I don't think I'm going to do measurements. A lot of people, some people say they do measurements before they start the journey, and they say that's a good thing to do. But I also heard the suggestion. I watched this one YouTube channel of a bariatric doctor that they said, I forget what they said, but they gave the reason why. They said you don't really have to do measurements. They were saying what you do is I forgot what they said. I truly forgot. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to do my measurements because I really don't feel like trying to measure my arms. And tell me if you're on a GLP-1, if you did measurements or if you feel it's necessary. Another thing I'm not going to do. Now, most people do. I've been there and I've done that. I'm not going to step on that scale every day, but I will do a weekly weigh-in. I decided I'm not stepping on that scale every day. And I know sometimes you need to, especially if you've hit your sweet spot and the weight is coming off. You want to do that for your averages and whatnot. But I don't want to go through the mental of all that. When I had my weight loss surgery, I was on that scale 3 times. I went on the scale every 5 minutes, okay? It was like, if I peed, I got on the scale. If I ate a meal, I got on the scale. I was on that scale so much, and everybody was like, do not be a scale hog, but I was on that scale. The second time when I had the VSG, I believe I would weigh every morning. I weighed every day, but I wasn't on that scale every 5 minutes. I weighed once a day, and that was it. And then when I lost, when I had my ostomy surgery, they weighed me. And they weighed me right on the bed, and then they would put me on the scale too, because they would compare. They would weigh me on the bed, but because pillows and I had IVs and machinery and all my mess up there and stuff like that, so they knew it wasn't an accurate weight. So then once they would get me up, when physical therapy would come to get me up, they would walk me to the scale out in the hallway and have me to step on it. And then that way, that's how they got their accurate weight on me. So I was weighed twice a day. But that wasn't because of intentional weight loss. They needed to see what was happening and all that, because I did lose muscle that time. And they got me built back up with the strength training and bike. They had me on the bike. They had me walking. They had me, getting in and out of the vehicle. It was all kind of therapy that I got. And I got occupational therapy as well. Okay, so anyway, so now this go round once a week, I think is sufficient. And then I will do my average. And that's the way one of the journals, the one that I think I'm going to purchase, is written. It has weekly weight, and you write your number. And then at the end of that page, it has foods eaten, all the stuff, all the things that you need for your documentation of your weight loss. And then at the bottom, it says end of the week weight or something like, I forget, average. It said average. So basically, you do your weight and everything. And then at the end of the week, you have your weight for the end of the week. And then at the end of the month, then you write your average. So it's just written out for you, and all you have to do is put in the number. So just know I'm not going to be stepping on the scale every day unless I have to. Now, something could happen to where I feel that I need to step on the scale. Okay, I may need to do that, especially if I notice that my clothes are fitting looser, then I might say, okay, let me get on the scale. Or if I feel a big dip, or if I feel funny, something like that, then I may jump on the scale just to see what's happening. Or if I feel like I've gained, or if I feel like I'm bloated, which is rare because y'all know I got the ostomy. So I still have a feeling that this ostomy is going to work to my favor, because I'm going to eat the fiber. And one bariatric doctor said, we concentrate on protein, and they said concentrate on fiber first and protein second. They said because you want to make sure that you're keeping yourself clear, because that's one of the major. But see, for me, I just don't think, although I'm going to do the fiber, but I just don't think I'm going to have that issue. You can't get constipated with the ostomy. It's no way. You can get a blockage. Now, that can happen, but you don't get constipated. This water alone is going to keep me moving. And I have a feeling that this ostomy is going to work to my advantage with the weight loss. I really do. I just have that feeling. And believe me, and another thing too. Ooh, I joined a whole bunch of Facebook groups that I'm unjoining. You get all these beautiful posts, people with the befores and afters, how easy this journey is and all that stuff. You always gonna get that one person with the horror story. Number one, they probably not doing what they supposed to do, but they want to give the worst, goriest horror story there is to be given. And then they go, and I haven't lost any weight. That's how you know that they haven't done what they're supposed to do. But it scares people. I read this one about these side effects, and this lady talking about my throat closed, began to close and all this. I'm like, oh, Lord. And it turned out her throat wasn't closing, but she went to the hospital. She was like, I had to call 911. I'm thinking, your throat wasn't closing in if you did the calling. And she was like, and when they sent me home that evening, that right there let me know it wasn't serious. Anytime they sent you back home and you thought your throat was closing, it turned out she was having an anxiety attack. Now, that could have been a side effect, but what have you eaten or whatever to do that to you? Probably caffeine, because, you know, caffeine, the only time I've had an anxiety attack once, and that was when I first got sick in Oklahoma. I was having panic attacks and didn't know what they were. I thought I was having a heart attack. My heart was beating all fast. I'm breathing all hard, hyperventilating and everything else. I didn't know that that's what it was. Caffeine. I cut the caffeine and that was the end of that. I haven't had a panic attack since. So if it happens on the medicine, then okay. But the way this woman described her experience, people were like, well, I don't think I'm going to take it. I don't think, no way. See, when you believe and you know, you trust God, see, I'm going to be slapping that blessed oil on me before every shot, okay? Before every injection. So if anything go down, I know God's got me regardless. So I'm not letting nobody to scare me away, but I'm not sticking with the channels either. So I'm getting ready, not channels, but the groups. So I'm going to be leaving those groups, and I'm going to stick to YouTube only, where it's one-on-one, where you're listening to one person tell their story and their journey. And so anyway, so let me get off of here, you guys. So yeah, y'all keep me in prayer, but I am not calling that secretary. She might get called Friday if I don't hear from her or don't hear from, oh, and the pharmacy did say that once everything is sent in and they approve it, he will be calling me to let me know. So he said, if I haven't called you, he was like, you should be hearing from me on Friday. So if I don't hear from him I'm going to give him to 4 o'clock Friday, because my doctor's office closed at 5, so that'll give me plenty of time to call her. So if he hasn't called me by Friday, then that lets me know she's lagging around, because I know she has the paperwork. So therefore, and he's not a busy office either. He has patients, but he's not very, very busy. And then he's closed on Wednesday, so that's already a day down. So hopefully she got that mess started today and gets it finished by tomorrow. She can send it tomorrow or send it Thursday, and we'll hear from them, you know, quickly. But I will call on Friday, but I ain't calling tomorrow like he suggested, because you're not going to ruin my birthday. Okay, so that's it, you guys. I've been on here 23 minutes, and I wasn't planning on being here no longer than 5 minutes, okay? So there we go. There you have it. Alrighty, so I will talk to you all later, and may God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I hope you lose plenty of weight, inches, and have great success with your GLP-1 medications. All right, bye-bye.